Really quick and then we can have more discussion about this significantly. But Linda, a couple things is, to your point, her hemoglobin A1C was a 6. Right away, I jumped to the triglycerides, right, to see if she's pooling sugars and lipids in the bloodstream. Remember, triglycerides, 3 sugars bound to a lipid, triglycerides. So she's even though her hemoglobin A1C is, I don't want to use the word only a 6, she's also pooling triglycerides. So she's trying to scavenge the sugar that's hanging out in the bloodstream by binding it to a fat or a lipid. And that's why her hemoglobin A1C could really quickly go a lot higher than a 6. Okay. Because so right away we want to look at that. Priscilla, were you fasting during these labs? Had you eaten?
Yes. I mean, no.
Okay.
No.
So if we look at her fasting blood sugar being 125 group and Linda, right? I'm just saying this really fast for you, Linda, just to have something to think about. So we look at it like this. Blood sugar is high in the bloodstream. It's actually marked as 125, but because she's got elevated triglycerides, so think about all the sugars that if it wasn't binding to a triglyceride would be floating around. She'd probably be more like a 150, 148, 138, right? Does that make, and we'll talk about this more, but Linda, I just want you to think about this. And then her hemoglobin A1C, which is how the sugar goes into the cell, right? Hemoglobin A1C, they call it a 90-day average. What it is it's enzymes. Like if you think about it, I'm trying to go into your front door, and I'm in menopause, so my balance is off, and I bonk into the door jamb. That's what a hemoglobin A1C is. Every time it kind of bonks and doesn't really easily get broken in and taken up to the cell. So with this one, so sometimes when the hemoglobin A1C is a little high and they say, oh, you're pre-diabetic, we go, eh. But when we see it coupled with a high triglyceride and a high fasting blood sugar, we want to work very hard to get those numbers down pretty fast. Her total cholesterol is 125. Her HDL is okay, right? There was just one other thing that I just wanted you to look at. And again, we do nutrition, we don't do labs, but the chemistry is always fascinating. So her TSH, thyroid-stimulating hormone, is a 9.92. So we're going to have a lot of conversation about that. That makes us go, remember the TSH is a pituitary hormone. It is not a thyroid hormone. It's how hard the brain has to yell at the pituitary. How hard the pituitary has to yell at the thyroid to be active. So we're going to have a lot of questions with her about that. So Linda, we're going to probably be working on stabilizing her blood sugar fairly quickly, seeing what programs she's done in the past, and then figuring out what the heck is going on with the TSH of 9, above a 9. I always get suspect of it being an artifact because she is not, I'm going to use the word, of significant body weight. Like she's not overweight enough to have a 9 unless there's something else going on. So I'm suspicious. I wish that we had like an FSH or some of the sex hormones, which I did not see yet, but we are going to, and somebody else is a faster reader than me. But that, like right away, I just go, right? Does anybody see her D, what her D level was?
She has a multiple D test, which is one of the questions I was going to ask you about, but a couple of them are 41.
Okay,
so it's a little bit less.
So the other thing that makes me suspect so I have a second TSH of a 1.4, right? I don't know how old this one is, but how do we go from a 1.4 to a 9 without something interesting going on? So we're going to have that conversation. So that's, in case you have to leave us, Linda, I just wanted to throw all that out there. So now we're going to start fresh. Hi, Priscilla.
Hi. Thank you. And I do have to go. And Priscilla, thank you for sharing with us everything. We appreciate having you let us learn off your case. Thank you. Thanks, Haylie. Bye,
Absolutely.
guys.
Travel safe.
Okay, y'all take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay, Priscilla. So I just wanted to give Linda something to think about. I know where she's heading, and so I just wanted to give her some thoughts. I promise everybody we'll go through that 10 times again, and we'll go through it really slow. Okay. Before we start, Priscilla, I just wanted for you to share with the team kind of like how you heard about us and the brand and how you came to be with the Fast Metabolism Diet and all of that good stuff.
Well, it's funny. It's actually 10 years ago. It's when I started with you. Oh, and so it's like an anniversary with me with you. It was right after my daughter was finishing high school and I decided to take my life back. So I think it was one of my coworkers back then introduced me to you, to the Fast Metabolism Diet. So I read the book. I started getting intrigued. I even met you, I believe, 3 years later in your Belinda, and you signed my
yes.
book, which my book is
Yes.
destroyed now. But it's I got a lot of use of it. I even got a new book. So if I ever see you again, I get you to sign the new book.
Absolutely.
And I have all your books. I've done many of your plans accordingly to what I felt was needed at the time. And I've just been following you ever since. Ever since COVID, though, I've lapsed in exercise. I've lapsed in my diet due to also my knees were given out. I finally had one knee replacement last year.
And when did you have that?
In November, I had a total knee replacement. And since then, I've been getting better. I've lost over 10 pounds, and that's why my levels are going down. Like the A1C didn't go down that much because I got ill. And I got COVID in February. Then I had breathing problems, and now I have heart problems now, supposedly, that they're monitoring me for.
So when you say heart problems, like arrhythmia, like palpitations, or?
So I have a pacemaker. 5 years ago, I got a pacemaker, and for pretty much passing out, my lower valves were not functioning properly.
Okay.
So they put a pacemaker in, so they've been watching it. My heart doctor referred me to the specialist because they saw SVT, irregular heart rhythm, for more than 4 minutes. So that's why they're doing the monitor on me now to find out what's going on with me at this point.
Are you on any medications in conjunction with the pacemaker?
No. I don't have no heart disease. They said the heart looks beautiful when she went in.
Wonderful.
So she just said it's just the valves. And my dad has history of heart problems in his side family. He has MVP. So there is heart valve issues in my dad's side of the family.
Okay, so guys, MVP is mitral valve prolapse, so it's like a part of the valve, and we did I now remember. I'm going, she looks super familiar to me. It's so funny. We were in your Belinda.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So you guys, I want you to start kind of thumbing through her health wish list. I want you to start thumbing through her self-assessment, right? Start looking through that. Look for themes, look for things that kind of pique your interest or are interesting. I do like to ask about if you're on taking any medications at all. And I do like to ask about any supplementation at all. Can we go over those really quick?
Sure. I'm on thyroid medication since I had cancer, and it was removed when I was about 20-some years old. So it's my thyroid supplement.
And okay, and how much?
125 mcgs.
Okay. And levothyroxine, guys, is T4 when we talk about the thyroid primarily producing T4 and then the body converting it into T3, the bioactive form. So so I saw an old TSH, or I don't know which one was more new. Do you typically run about 1.4? Did they comment on the 9?
I just had mine done Monday, and I sent it over, I believe, yesterday, the most recent one. It was by email. It was like a snapshot picture.
Yeah, it's a 1.4. Yeah.
Okay, that's the one that was the most recent the other day.
Okay, so you guys, let me just comment on this for a second. When you see something, and again, it's not your responsibility legally, your job to evaluate labs at all. The way that I look at labs when people bring them in is we just go, this is interesting. Did we have a conversation with your doc about it? This is interesting. What did the doc say about it? This is interesting. Let me ask a friend about it. This is interesting. Let me bring this to class so we can chat about it. But when you see an abnormal number that's remarkably high like that, right? Her doctor did the most awesome thing, which is retest it. Labs are wrong a lot. And one thing that I always encourage my clients is if medication is going to be changed, so like Priscilla's on a thyroid medication, There could be a doctor that looked at that 9 and said, we're going to move you up to 150. It was wrong. She had it retested. Her doctor's a rock star. They retested it and her TSH is a 1.4. Right? So I always encourage, just even as a friend, or I always say, if you were my sister, if you were my mom and you came in at a 9 and the doc wanted to modify your meds or put you on meds, same with the statin or cholesterol. If you were my sister, if you were my mom, it's so inexpensive to get some of those targeted labs. Like, we're talking $20, right? Rerun. Let's rerun it and make sure that it's not an artifact. And this is the perfect case. So thank you, Priscilla, for showing us how imperfect labs can actually be sometimes. I cannot tell you how many times people are suggested medications or even supplements based on labs that are just wrong. So I do look at things that are thematic, not only in a person's health wish list, but also in a person's self-assessment, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got like kind of the communication, like a little bit of energy, a little bit of like getting her really motivated and starting on a plan. I want to have you guys ask her about, what her kind of lifestyles like are we talking, she loves cook, she hates to cook, has she done the cleanse, has she done any burns? So I'm going to turn it over to you guys in just a second, but these are the things that are starting to already happen in my head, right? Don't go deep yet. We're going to take the next 10 minutes and we're going to see what her world is like, right? So we know that she's pretty savvy with FMD. She's got 10 years worth of knowledge base around it. We also know that having gone through thyroid cancer and being on a thyroid medication for a long time, she's under really good doctor care as far as monitoring and managing that well for that many, it's been 10 years since you were 27, right, Lisa? You're only 37, right? I mean, Priscilla, sorry. Gosh.
I just turned 60, so it's about 40 years ago.
Oh, you look amazing. Wow. Now, what was it lobular? What kind, do you know what kind of thyroid cancer it was?
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember them saying it was malignant. That's all I could remember.
Okay. And so we've got a recent knee replacement. We've got, heart valve issues. We've got what they're playing with the D word, the pre-diabetic word, right? And so, she did also mention that she's got hot flashes when not on medication, but she just told me she's just on levothyroxine. So was there another medication in the past?
I'm still taking, for the hot flashes, estradiol.
Okay.
A patch once a week. So I'm taking that.
So you change it every week?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, about a week and a half. The doctor wants, because I've been on it for so long, she wants me to stretch it out. So I stretch it out to about a week and a half. I try to.
What's the potency on it? Are you
0.1?
0.1. And it's not Viveldot, or what, do you know which company it is?
Oh, no, not offhand.
Okay. And there's no progesterone on board at all, just the estrogen patch?
Yeah. It's called estradiol.
Uh-huh.
So, I just take that and my cholesterol medicine, which I just cut myself. The doctor also agreed to go ahead and try until the next test results.
And which one were you on?
He's with an S.
Simvastatin?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. And how many milligrams?
She originally put me on 10, and now I'm on 5. I just cut them in half.
Cool. Okay. So another thing, guys. So I don't know if you noticed, but I asked her about meds, and we only kind of uncovered levothyroxine. So I always leave a list for like 4 or 5, like my little list. I can't show you the camera, but I put it at the bottom where we put more issues you've noticed in details. I wrote like medications, and I put levothyroxine for thyroid, T4, the patch, change it every 1.5 weeks. I did note no progesterone, cholesterol 10 to 5. What do I think about? I'm going to the food thought, and I go, okay, she's got elevated triglycerides. They're backing down her cholesterol medication. So we're going to really want to make sure that as we put together her FMD, or as we incorporate a burn or something like that, we want to make sure that we support the hormones, right? Because the better the hormones are supported, the better you metabolize cholesterol. Cholesterol is a precursor of all your hormones, including insulin, right? Which she has having a problem with because her hemoglobin A1C is a little high. So I'm starting to go, okay, we want to make sure, however we pan it all out, we give a lot of extra love to kind of the part of the cleanse, right? The phase 2 liver detox where the body takes cholesterol and makes it into hormones, and also hormones. Like that's where my brain's already going. Megan mentioned that she's got some consistent D's in the 40s. You know, maybe we want that a little higher, like 60 to 80, right? Maybe this is kind of thoughts there. Let's ask, so which drags me right to my next question, which is supplementation. So what supplements are you currently? So let me tell you guys just really quick, watch my pattern a little bit. I want to know what her nutrition exposure has been. I want to know more about that. I'm gonna let you guys ask her that. Like, has she done burns? Has she done cleanses? You know, shakes, all that kind of stuff. I want to know any metabolic diagnostics, because you know somebody has taken good care of her for years. That's not us, right? So I want as much data as fast as I can. I want to know if there's any meds on board, any thought of adding meds, any thought of reducing meds, just that, how that conversation. I'm not saying statins are this. I'm not educating about meds. I'm curious about meds. And now I'm jumping into supplementations. So usually with supplements is I want to know, what are you taking now? And Megan, I'm going to share this with everybody. Sometimes when I have a client, their name doesn't have to be Megan, but I actually use the tactic of, what were you taking 3 months ago? Because maybe right now isn't the perfect reflection of what you're doing from supporting yourself with supplements. Maybe 3 months ago, before summer hit, chaos, maybe you were. So I don't know if Megan noticed that I used that tactic on her, but I wanted to know what's been a regimen in the past. Like, you know, when she feels like she's being a rock star, what does that look like, as opposed to what today looks like? I always start with today, and then I usually back it into something like Megan defined for me. Summer was a period of time. Sometimes your client's not going to define that for you. And so you say, when you were feeling at your top, what was your supplement regimen then? That's another great way to kind of lead into that question. Okay, guys? Okay, so Priscilla, here we go. Tell us what you're taking right now from a supplement perspective.
All yours.
Yay! Me too.
Yeah, I've changed over completely to yours. I just could tell the difference completely.
I know. I mean,
So,
I wish my name wasn't on them. You will totally laugh. So I literally felt like I crawled off a plane the other day. I woke up and walked into this massive meeting, had meetings, and literally left my suitcases. I didn't even go back and get my suitcases, and went to the airport and jumped on a plane. And I came home, and my mom was actually here at my house when I got home. And I made myself a shake, and I said, I feel so corny saying this, but I don't know how I could live without these. Because I was just like crawling into the house, happy to be home. My mother was here, and, you know, can I get you anything? And I'm like, just, if I could put it in an IV bag right now, I would, because that's all my body could take. I was like, I need this. So, okay. So let's shoot. What you taking?
okay, I'm taking your multi.
Okay. How much?
I'm taking 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening.
Okay.
And then I'm taking your fatty acids.
Okay. How much?
And I take, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening.
Okay.
And I take a D3 and K2.
Okay.
I take that once a day in the morning.
Okay.
Once in a while, if I need to, I'll take your melatonin.
Okay.
I think that's, probiotics. I take that once a day in the morning.
Okay.
And I used to take your other supplements, but my doctors told me to stop because, like, the B12 was, my blood test was too high.
Okay.
So we stopped that. But I think that's about it for now.
Okay. So when a triglyceride's high, and again, Priscilla, I really appreciate you being so generous with all your data. Right away, I always want to know what their dose is on fatty acids. Usually with an elevated triglyceride and an elevated hemoglobin A1C, we're usually more like 9 a day. You got to remember, our fatty acids are food-based, 100% food-based. So they're not like a concentrated oil, that's why I like chew mine. I put them on my face or whatever. So from a dosage perspective, she's on the very low end, and especially with an elevated triglyceride. So, and again, in my brain, I also think cardioprotective with valve issues. I always want to look at lipids or fatty acid levels. So that's the one that I just go, maybe more like she's doing 4 a day, more like 8 a day, 4 twice would be probably more appropriate. Some of my men with high triglycerides, when we're trying to get it under control and everything's stable and we're going to put in a good nutrition plan, we do 4, 4, and 4. I think that would be a bit much for her right now. But that's just a thought that I'm just kind of thinking. Megan or somebody probably thought, like, do we bump the D with her being on 1 and it being in the 40s? I don't know. Let's see what we decide to do food-wise, because she's coming down on a statin, and a statin can inhibit vitamin D assimilation. So the fact that she's coming down, her D might bounce up nice anyway, and she's not like 23. You know, I mean, that I just share with you what my brain is starting to think. Okay. And I know that's what Jen.
Also,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Please.
One more thing. I'm on one more thing. I don't know if it's considered supplement, but I am taking collagen also.
Okay. I just had like a meltdown over collagen the other day. I am not personally a huge proponent of collagen. I'm usually not super vocal about it. I've always felt like it super excites glutamate receptor sites in the brain, and I haven't had a good way to articulate it. And we had a guest lecturer out of Harvard the other day who she's just amazing, and she's a neuroinflammatory specialist, and she went off on collagen, like how much of a detriment it's made in the inflammatory cycles and how in the world. And I was like, I'm going to watch it like 5 more times because I loved the way she articulated it. But that's a for me. That's a if you were in my clinic as a client, which, you know, I would say if my sister asked me about collagen, I would say apologize to the universe for flushing it down the toilet. But that's just me. If you are in an inflammatory process, so especially healing after a knee surgery or post-accident or post, torn ligament or things of that nature, it can be excitogenic. It converts to glutamate really efficiently, which in a lean body that's working out, that's not in an inflammatory state, there can be benefits with elevating glutamate. It is a catalyst for pro-inflammatory states. So it's the same thing why I don't like fish oils. It's a catalyst for back conversion of fatty acids if the prostaglandins are out of balance. I worked in the fertility space. We were given prostaglandin modifiers in clinic, injectable. We had to stay away from the fish oils, right? So I don't know that I'm going to just throw that out there and I'll let it go. But it's just one of those that I'm like going, that's interesting. I wonder how you feel on it and off it. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. I just monopolized that time. I ended exactly on time. Now I'm going to give each of you, Carrie, Nancy, Jen, and Megan, I'm going to give you a little bit of a parameter. I want to talk about what her experience has been nutritionally a little bit more specifically. And I want you to talk to her about some of, like, I tell you, like, what's your favorite phase? How did you respond on that phase? Have you done any of the burns? Have you done the cleanse? Do you like the shakes? So we'll just go round robin. Jen, I'm going to have you start first and try to be 2 minutes max because we've got 10 minutes for this.
Okay, so my question would be, what programs have you done and what was your favorite?
I've done the FMD constantly. When I feel I need a cleanse, I do the 10-day cleanse, 5-day cleanse, depending on what I need or how much I could afford on the shake. And I've done the Revolution. I think it's the most recent ones I've done.
What was your favorite?
Recently I've done the 5-day cleanse, all the shakes.
And how did you feel on that cleanse?
I lost weight and I felt more lighter, more clear in my brain. Just overall, much better. I mean, I wish I could have done 10 days, but I'm not a shake person, so that's really a struggle for me also. So, but that's the only shake that I actually like, that I could actually manipulate it enough.
So any issues you're having with doing a 28-day FMD?
No. Mm-mm.
So
No.
no cooking issues, no obstacles of any kind?
No, because bringing up my daughter, as a single parent, I was always preparing food ahead of time. So I kind of just incorporated into this. I prepare my food on the weekends. So on the weekdays when I work, I have it all ready. I have a bag of protein, I have a bag of vegetables, I have a bag of the carbs. So I have everything planned out, the fruits, everything already planned out.
Okay, awesome. I'll pass it on.
Awesome. Jen, I'm going to interject. Priscilla, we need your address because we're all going to come over to eat at your house. Great questions, Jen. One thing that she mentioned was not being a great fan of shakes, just to take away that she likes the FMD shake. She did mention cost, so we want to be conscientious about that. Not that we shouldn't be all the time, but like sometimes people are on other ends where they're like, I need shakes because I can't cook, I don't prep. So that was great insight that we gained about Priscilla and her life. And the more we understand her, the better success we can have. So Nancy, you're up.
All right. So I know that we've just gone over the supplementation that you're on right now, but I'm just curious. I'd like to know a little bit about your history with supplementation. Was there a time that you felt that you were taking different supplements that maybe you felt better or worse? And can we go over a little bit of the history with the supplements?
Recently I've realized I wasn't taking enough fatty acids. And my nails were not growing. They were brittle more than they usually are. My hair wasn't as healthy. As soon as I doubled it, went from 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening to 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. My nails are growing again. My hair is much more shinier and healthier. I just noticed a big difference on that.
Right. Sorry, I'm trying to write.
Don't forget, Nancy, I'm recording it for you too. Okay. Yeah, don't forget. No, that was an excellent question. I just want to say something that's so cool that her body responded to that. So we show that was a nutrient need for her, right? And because she's pulling triglycerides, that's another indication that it's a nutrient need. But hair, skin, and nails, so she's having a hard time pulling those lipids off, but her body's so smart, it's doing it on purpose, guys. We bind up triglycerides when our sugars get too high and our insulin isn't sensitive enough. It's our body sees it as safer than her driving her blood sugar way up. So I always say triglycerides start to pop as a defense mechanism before someone pops into diabetes. So you kind of get right on that cusp with that person when you see the triglycerides go up and you go, uh-oh, so a way to help her have her insulin be more sensitive is to actually get her lipids even a little bit higher. But we know this in our pets, in our dogs, our horses, right? When they are deficient and we add that supplement in, what is the first thing that happens? We say their coat is better, right? My cat was deficient in something. I changed foods and their coat changed and it looked so great. So she just had that response. So Nancy, that was a very good question. You're going to get to retain some of your time. You got another minute. Go.
That's all right. So then with the supplementation, I noticed you said that you had stopped the B12. You had your lab was high on that. Did you, just curious, have you had it retested since then? Have you noticed any difference in the way you feel when stopping the B12?
I'm not as energetic. I think I was over. I had too much energy and it felt like artificial. So once I got off that, I feel pretty much normal. I still get energy. I mean, I'm up to now working out 3 times a week since I joined the gym. So I do sometimes I feel the B12, but I just have to get it in nutrients is what I do.
For sure. And that was a great question, Nancy. And it's such an aha moment. So when a body is pooling B12, usually so it's a water soluble substance, right? It should be excreted. When it starts to pool it, we look at, there's an enzymatic, and I talk about this in the cleanse class about cytochrome P450, how the body converts cholesterol into prostaglandins or pregnenolone, DHEA, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and vitamin D, right? So we know because has had a little bit of pooling cholesterol that she's got a little deficiency there anyway. So kind of cool that she feels really good on the 5-day cleanse, because that hyper nurtures that cytochrome P450, because there's a lot of alpha lipoic acid and N-acetylcysteine in those shakes. So her body craves the shake that fixes the problem, or that supplements the problem of why she's a B12 pooler. Isn't that weird or interesting? I just think it's fascinating, right? What a cool body. So if her doc if you got people that say, gosh, I feel really good, I pool cholesterol, I feel really good on the 5-day, especially the 5 over the 10, those people are, because you like go bam on that cytochrome P450. It's like not gentle. And you're going to go, oh, I bet if we pop their B12, that they're going to be what we call poolers. A little trick sometimes, Priscilla, is adding, if you have any leftover, adding a B12 on your workout days. You can then get the boost without pooling. You take those quote unquote drug holidays in between, meaning letting your body break down and absorb as slowly as it needs to. There's also gut issues when we have, when we have not metabolizing B12. So she might be a great candidate for some of the fermented foods, right? Like thinking about adding some of the fermented salsa in her recipe, and even going in the cleanse booklet, if she's not doing a cleanse, and saying, hey, Priscilla, like, why don't we do some of the cleanse specific foods during your FMD? Like pull out the cleanse booklet, even if you're not doing a cleanse, and let's pull some of those cleanse recipes and add them into your meal map. But those are excellent questions.
Can I just say something about that, Haylie? That's funny
Please.
that you bring that up. Pre-COVID, I was working out 5-6 days a week, sometimes double workouts. And I was taking B12 liquid. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was a liquid I would do when I had double workouts in one day. And that would get me through my double workouts.
Yep.
And then that's the only days I would take my extra B12. And now that we're reevaluating, like, yeah, that's true. I did only need it like those days when I worked out.
Yep, you got a smart body. Yeah, and we would not have even thought of that, guys, had we not just been curious, right? Like, cool. Are you guys impressed yet? Kind of fun. I love seeing clients. Megan, you're up. So I want you guys to think about how I threw back in what we're thinking about food-wise. We got to get her out the door with a plan. And we have a limited time. She's our client. She's got to walk out the door with a prescriptive plan.
Priscilla, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about your sugar cravings. It sounds like you're doing an amazing job with your food, an amazing job with your supplements. And so I'm curious how those sugar cravings are cropping up.
Sure. Pre-COVID, when I was working out, I had no sugar cravings. I got pretty much hooked on stevia. So anything that I did, baking or anything, was always stevia. And then once COVID hit, being at home, it starts creeping into your life, the sugars. And then I'm a Disney fanatic also. I go to Disneyland maybe twice a week, minimum. So I go and I sometimes have their special treats that they have. I've cut down on that completely. It's all in my freezer, stashed way in the back. But I'm not tempted by them anymore. I've cut back so much since I've been trying to lose weight but I have noticed that I need to have like a piece of hard candy, something, a small little piece of candy once a day, it seems like. And it's normally right after lunch or after dinner, between after dinner and before bed. I'm noticing that's when I get my cravings. But it's just not, not as much as it used to be.
Excellent question, Megan. And I want to, can I just
clarify?
Okay.
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
No, that was an excellent question. And so with her hemoglobin A1C being elevated, sugar cravings can come on because she's got sugar in the bloodstream at a 125. When it comes into the cell, that's when the body goes, ooh, yay, satiated. So she could need, her body feels that she needs supplemental sugar because she's not taking sugar into the Krebs cycle, into the metabolic cycle, the TCA cycle. So this is great thought to intentionally, right, add some of the power balls or the cacao nibs or the homemade, intentionally add in a dessert that, that can be part of her meal map, the fudge sickles or something like that, so that we're not saying just white knuckle it, Priscilla, but I would not have even layered that into her meal map if Megan hadn't asked that question. So that's a great, great point. Megan, you're getting to reclaim some of your time. I sound like the senator from Irvine. And and I love Disney. Also, when my sister stopped working at Disney, I was devastated because I took the kids like every week on banking day. So, okay. So Megan, you're up.
Okay, and can you clarify for me, Priscilla, when you say after COVID, I think I heard you say that you had COVID this past February. Is that what you're referring to, or are you referring to like when we were all in quarantine initially with COVID?
When we were initially in with COVID, it was just my daughter and I, and she's obese. She has some medical issues, celiac and other stuff that PCOS. So she just let her body go. She's and I got her stash. She would share with me. Being in the same house day in, day out. So that's where little by little I try to resist the temptation, but not working out as much, being bored. I think everybody falls into that sugar fix.
Yeah, that's my downfall too. Sugar is my Achilles heel too. Okay, and then so tell me a little bit more about when you had COVID. Did you experience setbacks afterwards? Like I'm looking at a little bit of your cardio history, and I'm hearing you say that you were working out and you're not now. And so I just want to understand a little bit more about, or not as much, I should say now, and I want to understand a little bit more about that.
So I got COVID on Valentine's Day this year. I survived the whole thing until Valentine's this year. And it was my mistake. I went to Disneyland and I went inside into the store, and I shouldn't have gone in there. But that's where I feel I got it. Anyways, ever since then, my health hasn't been the same. I had coughing issues during the night, and then I started having what my doctor thought was possibly being asthma, but I think it was, to be honest, I think it was the side effects of the COVID still. And then now I have this heart possible issues that I have a feeling it's all come down from the COVID. But the doctor gave me some, I forgot what that medicine is called, when you get COVID, to get the medication to get over it faster.
Paxlovid, was it Paxlovid? Yeah.
Yes. She gave me that, which helped because I was able to still work every day from home. But I don't know, COVID or the medication or something did something to my body.
Okay, great. And Megan, excellent question. So you guys, COVID and some of the long hauler aspect of it, right? Especially when we have respiratory, we want to work on inflammatory stuff. So my little brain is thinking like, okay, she likes the shake. Maybe we do the pain and inflammation protocol. Have you done that one, Priscilla?
The what? I'm sorry?
The pain and inflammation protocol?
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. That could potentially kind of clear up the lung, right? Maybe that would be something that would be, possible. So Carrie, you're up. And then you guys, you're going to be thinking we're going to have, not many more minutes to pull together a plan for Priscilla. So Carrie, you're up. It's time for your questions.
All right. Hi there, Priscilla.
Hi.
I wanted to ask more about, since you said the FMD was your go-to, which phase is your favorite, and also which one do you feel the best on?
Ooh, phase 3 is my favorite. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
So that one's your favorite, but also the one you feel the best on. Do you have any difficulties like during like phase 2 when some of the cards are pulled out?
Actually, no. Since I've been doing this for 10 years, carbs is not an issue with me as much. It's the sugar that's more of an issue to me all these years than the sweet tooth, I guess you would say, than carbs. I've been able to control my carbs to the point where sometimes I force myself to take carbs, especially on the days for the phase 1 that you have to have it 3 times a day. I struggle with that sometimes because I really don't want that much carbs, but I do it.
And then I also noticed you mentioned every once in a while having difficulties sleeping or falling asleep. Does that ever seem to correlate with anything that's going on or anything specific phase that you're on?
When I don't exercise, the less exercise I get, the more I notice I don't sleep. So if I like go straight to work, sit all day, and don't go for my daily walks at work, I get too busy or whatever it is, and then I come home and then I don't work out again. I notice by the time it's bedtime, I just can't sleep as well.
It's helping you to decompress.
Yes.
That's always a good thing. And
those are great questions, everybody. I'm kind of always blown away about how smart bodies are and like kind of what it tells us that she wants. So a lot of us are doing 28 days right now. Don't forget October 2nd, we start another 28-day cycle as a community. You're in the membership section, right, Priscilla?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Okay. So if you want to share, and you can add Jen and Carrie and Nancy and Megan and me, you can add us, share, kind of your experience and your journey going through this, what we end up developing for you, and you can add all of us. And then, because we're going to pull together a plan now. So we have 10 days before the October, I just know because I just did a one-on-one with somebody. We have 10 days starting tomorrow before the October 28-day trial. But I want you guys to think about ways that we can nurture. So I've made the suggestion of upping the fatty acids. And so I've kind of buttoned that up a little bit. I've also thought, to give her more boost in energy and vitality, I want her also, when she works out, I want her to use that as a time to really supercharge her ability to absorb blood sugar. That's why I'm thinking if we add the B12 during that time, you know what I mean? Give her the energy and the vitality and help with glycogen storage and draw some of that sugar out. So we're just going to go round robin again. And I want you to think about her on the next 28 days of how you would suggest, you can suggest something for her for the next 10 days. But I want us to think about each of you to something that you would suggest body specific for her for her next 28-day cycle, which will start October 2nd. So you can, and then, and we'll just go around real quick again, and then we'll pull it together. Okay. So Jen, you're up first.
Okay. I think it's a little bit short notice. Haylie did mention that there's 10 days in between now and starting the FMD on October 2nd. How would you feel about doing a cleanse or potentially a burn program or something of that nature, given that the time frame is a little bit short?
If I could, I would do the 5-day at least cleanse, but for me to get the product and all, I don't think it wouldn't be enough time still.
Yeah,
and Jen, I'm going to jump in on you because I'm going to tell you this or ask you this. I love what you said, and I thought the same thing came out of my brain. As a practitioner, I'm a little bit, as you guys know, I don't want to say sneaky. So don't forget praise, ask, right?
Yeah.
So something like this, like I know you're really good at developing meal maps and preparing foods on Saturday. We're coming into it, or on the weekend. We're coming into a weekend this week. If we came to a consensus that one of the burns would be a good one, or a cleanse, right? Praise. Mm-hmm. And then do you think you would want to pop a 5-day cleanse? But I'm also going to ask you, Jen, why a 5-day cleanse?
Well, just because we're super short notice for 10. Like if she really wanted to be on the 28-day program with the community starting on the 5th. She would need to be done with something by then. So we're a little bit limited on, like, we could do the deburn, iburn, or the 5-day cleanse, but I think anything that would be 10 days would be a little bit too quick.
Good. I love that. The other thing that I want to say is what's unique to her body and how can that translate to nutrition? So we're going to talk about blood sugar maybe, or cholesterol maybe, like what's eventful in her body right now. She's just starting. Go ahead.
I was just going to say just the high sugar that she's dealing with at the moment.
Okay. So we want to talk about some skill sets for, let's say we want her to get her carb in. She's going to exercise, right? Skill set for phase 1 would be like adding a protein. When you do the 28 days, are you adding a protein at breakfast in phase 1? Do you typically do that, Priscilla?
My typical phase 1 is oatmeal, still oats, berries, and I think that's it.
Okay, so we want to so Priscilla, because we want to work this next 28 days on blood sugar, we want to think about adding a protein to your breakfast. So some scrambled egg whites, a scoop of phase 1 shake, a piece of turkey bacon. I want you to think about adding a protein to your phase 1 in this next 28 days. Jen, is that helpful? So we want to.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if we did not, we already, so praise, ask, and thank you for letting me use you as an example. I'm like you, I jump right in and I become an ask hole. I ask. But I've learned that if you praise, ask, it softens the blow a little bit, and also it also gives your brain a moment to think. Like, okay, it's almost like, okay, she is really good at cooking, she is really good at planning, she's really good on Saturdays. We want to start this next cycle. Let's see if we can't really help tackle her blood sugar. So how can I help her tackle her blood sugar? She already told me that her body's like a little bit, so much carbs. How can I cut the carb? I'm not going to get rid of the carb because we need it therapeutically, but I'm going to balance it with a protein.
I love that.
How many ounces?
I would love to see, my dream would be at least 9 to 15
ounces a day.
I'm sorry, grams. I was in grams. Sorry, 48 ounces. I was in grams.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I would say, 3 ounces is great.
Okay.
2 would be
a quick tip for your sugar drive is those coconut macarons are my go-to for like a sugar craving. They are amazing.
And in phase 1, I do the meringues. Those meringues, or the egg white meringues, are lifesavers, or the mug cake, right?
The mud cake, I fail on that. I'm going to put it in the oven one time because microwave just doesn't do it, and I burned my meringues before.
Oh, I'm going to send you. I've gotten so handy at my meringues. I don't know. All right, Nancy, you're up. So Nancy, what I'm looking for is some prescriptive that's going to make her next 28 days special to what she's dealing with. Jen already totally monopolized phase 1. So think about something maybe in phase 2 or phase 3, and then think about, she can start implementing it now. She's already doing FMD. She's getting ready to cook this weekend. Please put it in the style of praise, ask.
Well, I'm so proud of what you've done so far, and I think that we can really help you. You work so hard on this. You are doing a great job with your meal preps, and we can definitely tweak this and make it special to you, because I know you're going to put the work in. You do a great job so far. What about adding it? Have you tried any of the fermented food recipes before?
Yes, I've done the salsa, and that worked really well. Whenever I make salsa, actually, I make the fermented. I don't make my own recipe anymore. So I make the fermented ones now. And then I do have kimchi once in a while if I could find it without the sugar in it.
And how would you feel about adding that in a little bit more often into your meal map? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be good.
Perfect, Nancy. You made me, I want to be your client. You made me so happy. That's awesome. A fun thing that is, so she's savvy in the salsa. One thing that I'll do with my clients is like, okay, I want you layered in the salsa. What if I also send you the pickle recipe or the fermented beets or the fermented kimchi? Because she just said it's hard to find it without sugar. You can say, oh, we've got a super easy kimchi recipe. Let's get you one that you can make next Sunday and get you that one dialed in too. Then you don't have to search for one anymore.
I have a question for you, Haylie. You just mentioned pickled. Lately I've been making pickled jalapenos and carrots.
Oh yeah.
Is that good? I mean, I'm getting ready to make a new batch this weekend.
Yeah, make sure we have a lot of recipes for it. Just make sure you're not adding, sugars and stuff that. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Fabulous. Great call.
Okay.
Great call. Megan, you're up.
Okay. First off, Priscilla, I want to thank you for working with your doctor to give us all this great chemistry report, because it really gives us a good insight into what you're doing. And I love to hear that you've got the cooking routine down, because I still struggle with that as a mom of like getting all of the things done. So fantastic. That points me in a direction though. I'm curious about maybe asking for a hormone panel to see if we can't get a little bit more information about some of your hormoning with some of the things you're struggling with, having some curiosity about supporting your hormones down the road. And then I'm also curious about this time leading up to FMD, if we might want to look at an eye burn. Haylie, can you remind me what the score is? Does it have a name when you put the monocytes, the eosinophils, and the basophils together? Is there a name for that scoring that you do?
It's so funny because it's an old antiquated, like, God, I learned it from a doc, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. And with COVID long hauler, it's become so trendy right now. So did you do her score?
Yeah, it's just a tiny bit over 9.
Okay.
But that and what she's talking about with the mucosal lining and kind of struggling cardiac wise and everything like that, I was thinking, since she doesn't love shakes, and if we're really trying to stay on the FMD with the community, the eye burn might be a fantastic option for her. And she could do, like maybe 2 or 3 cycles, depending on how the calendar works, depending on how she feels on it, to maybe hopefully like shed some of that inflammation fluid and see what that does for some of her symptoms.
And that's a great.
Are you familiar with the eye burn at all, Priscilla?
I haven't done the eye burn. I've been kind of skeptical about doing burns because I'm not very knowledgeable about them. So I was kind of skeptical about doing those.
We can send you kind of a cheat sheet on it, Priscilla. And the other thing about it is you can use if you want to use a shake, you could use some metabolism shake if you wanted to on it. You don't have to. It's fairly easy to do. You use the soups and the teas. It's a really easy program. Once you master a burn, you're going to be like super happy. It's easy. So we'll send you like a little eye burn sheet. If one of you guys could post that and at her in the membership section, that would be awesome. I think that's a great idea, Megan. And early on, I was also thinking, about the pain and inflammation protocol. So I don't hesitate to tell a client, like, do you have the burn book, Priscilla?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I don't hesitate to have a client say, in your going before bed, once you open that chapter, why don't you read a little bit about it? Start to look at it. There is a good cheat sheet in there where it shows you, shake, smoothie, tea. It's pretty easy. See if you resonate with that. Download the pain and inflammation protocol during this next 28 days. See if that looks kind of yummy to you, because Priscilla's in it for the long haul, right, guys? She's been doing this for 10 years. So start kind of playing with that a little bit. But fabulous suggestion, Megan. Very good. Carrie, you're up. You're going to take us
Priscilla,
home tonight.
I will also tell you that I just ran across a chocolate oatmeal recipe that you can do in phase 1.
I love chocolate.
Yeah, me too. And so I was really struggling in phase 1 to curb my sugar cravings because it's the only one I couldn't find anything chocolate. And so there is a slow cooker chocolate oatmeal recipe that I thought would be perfect for your dessert on phase 1. And with your mug cakes, I kind of make them like cupcakes. I make a whole bunch of them and do cook them in the oven. and they come out without burning them
Okay.
to my cups.
Awesome. All right, Carrie, you're up. So Carrie,
Priscilla.
Carrie,
Go ahead.
I just want to recap. Jen's going to have her adding protein in phase 1. We're going to have her adding B on her days that she exercises. We're going to have her bumping up her fatty acids, right? Megan wants her looking at some of the inflammatory protocols, pain and inflammation protocols, maybe sneaking in an eye burn ahead of it. Nancy wants to make sure that she's working on the gut and healing up some of the fermented vegetables, layering that into all of the phases. In phase 2, a really good one to help make sure that she utilizes her protein efficiently. Again, we're working to try to get her blood sugar better in this 28 days. So we're working on stabilizing protein, making it accessible through the digestive enzymes, reducing inflammation, which will help insulin be more. Remember, inflammation blocks insulin receptor sites. So Megan's driving it down. Jen's balancing blood sugar. Nancy's making conversion of nutrients and absorption. And Carrie, you're going to be our closer.
Sorry, Ms. Priscilla. Again,
No
thank
pressure.
you for volunteer. I know all the ideas that came before, right? Thank you so much for being with us. And you are an absolute rock star for being able to do this 10 years in the meal prepping. That is quite something to admire too, with especially as busy as we get in life. So, and one thing I think going into phase 3, because I completely agree with everything everybody else said, especially in the last one with getting the hormones checked, because part of your issue could be not balancing your estradiol with progesterone. That can cause many issues. And going into phase 3, it sounds like you're very busy. We didn't get to speak a lot about your life in the day of Priscilla and how that goes. But one thing we want to do in phase 3 is making sure that we're taking that time for ourselves. Make sure, as a mom, as a person working, the person usually last on the list is us. So making sure that you're really taking that time for that relaxation, that massage, that, getting in the jacuzzi, because that's going to really help to make sure that we're not going to throw that cortisol back up and then wreak havoc on everything that we had just done. So how are you usually about with that? Taking time for you.
I do try to take once a week, somehow, some form. Like this week, I just went to my chiropractor and had an hour massage there with his wife. So I did that. That's my relaxation. And then now that it's cooling down, I have a hot tub in my backyard. So I'll start going in that now that it's cooling down in the evenings on the weekends.
That's awesome. And Carrie, the fact that you brought us home with some lifestyle aspects of it is I got chills. Like genuinely, I was thinking about the fact that how beneficial it is for someone to have coaching, right? Because these are all things that I'm gonna implement in my 28 days. I'm living, not just living vicariously. I'm poaching you, Priscilla. I'm poaching all this knowledge for myself. So I'm gonna be with you in this process. But it's really cool. You guys did this feel good as to see the process of we did it in an hour, right? And there was a lot of us and a lot of minds, but this is what I want you to do with the client. And you saw my rhythm, right? Like you got 10 minutes to ask questions. You got 10 minutes to do this, chop up your hour. I obviously do a lot of extra talking. That's why we're going to run a little bit over, but you guys did exceptional. Priscilla, I'm gonna see if you have any questions for any of the coaches. We're gonna send you this recording. All of you guys will get the recording too. This was an exceptional visit. Anybody that walked into any of my clinics that got this kind of care, I would be so proud. Like this is a really, really, really good clinical visit where a person gets a lot of and care for themselves for a long period of time. This is going to stick with her. So Priscilla, any questions for any of the coaches? Know that they're all available and accessible to be a coach. Know that we're all on the membership section. You can add us and poke us and stuff like that. If there's anybody that you know that needs coaching, please consider any of the coaches that were here tonight. That would be awesome for them in their profession and obviously in helping other people reach the level of success that we're going to get to witness with you.
There's just one question I had. The phase 1, you said add protein. Is that per meal or how often per day?
Well, you're going to have protein for sure at lunch and at dinner. It's already designed that way.
Right.
Protein is kind of optional in phase 1, but we're going to have that mandatory for your body.
Okay, so add it to like the breakfast and the snacks.
I would like to see it for breakfast. And because, again, we're dealing with blood sugar, let's layer in a vegetable with your fruit-based snack.
Okay.
So that stretches your blood sugar a little bit more by increasing that fiber.
Okay.
And remember, veggies have protein in them too. So the highest is like broccoli. So if you add some broccoli with your, any of the cruciferouses are really good. And the mushrooms are also really good. Olives, not in that phase. Sorry, somebody catch me. I'm screwing up. But a lot of the cruciferouses are really good. Or even like Nancy mentioned, there's a great coleslaw. In the fermented kind of realm of thing, there's a great coleslaw recipe, and that is really yummy with chopped apples for a phase 1 snack that gets your veggie, gets the fermented piece, gets your apples in the afternoon. That can really help with the blood sugar craving too.
Sounds good. Just want to let you know you are awesome, and I'm just at awe with you. I just feel honored to be here, and since my journey with you for 10 years, I've lost over 50 pounds.
That's amazing.
So that's where I'm like, I got 20, 30 more pounds to go back to where I was. So I just want to let you know, yeah, I've had my ups and downs, but I've gotten to the point where I've actually lost over 50 pounds.
That's awesome.
So I'm very honored.
So are we, Priscilla, and I genuinely, people that are willing, I wish I didn't go through what I went through and go through health wise. I really do. On some days I feel it more than others, but I kind of tried to decide that I didn't go through it for no reason, and I would be open and just kind of share my journey. And like watching you do that's just a huge inspiration to us. You don't know how much you've taught us in this session, and it's not only enriched all of us, but every single one of these people are going to go out and touch people's lives in a very different way because of you. So I'm honored, and thank you.
Thank you. One of these days I'm going to be a coach also. So.
do it. We have fun, and we're going to have more fun. So, all right, you guys have an amazing night. Please go back, post coaches, express what happened. If you guys have more questions, post ping. This was a really, really good session, and we'll get you guys all copies of this. Okay.
Thank you, Haylie.
All right, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.